questions this evening. We've got the questions directed by Councillor Caroline.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In a recent article in the Nuneaton News, our leading MP, Marcus Jones, made several suggestions towards regenerating Nuneaton Town Centre, as he has done on many occasions. He then very kindly offered the hand of friendship, saying, "We must put aside our political differences in order to bring about his suggestions. Could the leader of the council please inform this chamber as to how many times Mr Jones has put aside his political differences and spoken with this council with his suggestions?" And that should read spoken. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As is often the case, the recent offer of working together from Mr Jones was no such thing. Having voted consistently as an MP to slash government grant to Nuneaton and Bedworth, along with the two other Conservative MPs who represent parts of this borough, Mr Jones went to the press to suggest we all work together, along with the County Council, to seek to improve the Nuneaton Town Centre. I received a letter after I had read about it in the press. As such, Madam Mayor, I did not consider this to be a personal letter or offer of any kind, but yet another publicity stunt. We are still waiting for the County Council, which takes 3/4 of the council tax paid by our residents, to carry out their responsibilities in our town centres. Our broken paving needs replacing, signs need cleaning, lights and safety fencing needs repairing, and the recently erected signs directing people to shop mobility in Abbey Street car park need changing. I might add that it has not been there for 10 years, Madam Mayor. Such is the county knowledge about the Nuneaton Town Centre. In response to Mr Jones, my response to Mr Jones is quite simple, Madam Mayor. Put your money where your mouth is, so to speak. Let the Tory-controlled County Council and the Minister for Town Centres, Marcus Jones, offer to match our new investment of £200,000 in our town centres, and I will welcome joint talks. Until then, such offers are merely political attacks on Nuneaton and Bedworth by an MP who became leader of the council in 2008 and whose Conservative administration immediately set about making our two town centre wardens redundant. Such is the hypocritical stance currently being taken, Madam Mayor.
I'd like to invite Councillor Hancock to make this question.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to ask the following question to the Leader of the Council. Could the Leader tell the Council which local authorities within Warwickshire have now applied for membership of the West Midlands Combined Authority, despite initially opposing the idea?
Madam Mayor, as Councillor Hancock and other members will know, Nuneaton and Bedworth was the first authority within the county to join the West Midlands Combined Authority. Since then, Stratford, who initially voted not to join, have done a U-turn and joined the CA. Rugby and North Warwickshire have both changed their initial positions and also applied to join the Combined Authority. Even Warwickshire County Council, whose Conservative leader, Councillor Izzy Second, vehemently opposed the county joining, has now followed Labour control of Nuneaton and Bedworth and applied for membership.
I'd like to invite Councillor Tansey to ask their question.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, could the leader please inform the council of the positive comments made at the recent local launch of the West Midlands Combined Authority?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A local launch of the West Midlands Combined Authority was held at Western Hall, Walkington last Tuesday, kindly sponsored by Holland and Barrett. And I can confirm to Councillor Tandy that it was a great success. Formal presentations were given by Peter Aldis, Chief Executive of Holland in Barrett, whose international headquarters are in the borough and are currently being expanded. Councillor Bob Slay, Conservative leader of Solihull and chair of the new authority, also spoke, as did Martin Reeves, Chief Executive of the CA. All of them praised Nuneaton and Bedworth for having courage to be the first council in the West Midlands to join the combined authority outside of the city areas, and stressed the economic advantages which will accrue to this area, its businesses and residents as a result of our decision.
I'll invite Councillor Bond to ask this question.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Nuneaton and Bedworth Borough Council Sports Development Team recently withdrew its administrative support for the Nuneaton and Bedworth Cycling Forum. The recently published public health reports, mentioned earlier, show an urgent need for people to be involved themselves in more physical activity. Will the portfolio holder ensure that cycling and the provision of cycling provisions is continued to be supported by this Borough Council?
Councillor Aylward.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Nuneaton and Bedworth Borough Council have supported the local cycling forum with secretarial duties for several years. Nuneaton and Bedworth Sports Development Team were asked to take over this role back in 2014, and I've worked with Warwickshire County Council colleagues with responsibilities for cycling to further develop initiatives within the borough, and look to maximise the opportunities of cycling for all residents. Following a meeting with Warwickshire County Council colleagues, who is in actual fact the lead agency for Ireland, and due to many projects that Sports Development Team are delivering, a request was made that Warwickshire County Council take over the secretarial duties for Nuneaton and Bedworth, as they do so for Stratford and Warwick districts. Can I quote part of my answer to Councillor Comerford as question on the full council meeting 13th of 4/16. This council, along with its partners, have delivered a first-class cycleway in the north of Nuneaton with a total of £932,401 being spent or to be spent. Nuneaton and Bedworth Borough Council, through the Parks and Countryside and Sports Development Team, will still be involved with developing cycling, encouraging further take-up and activities, and will attend meetings with the local cycle forum and Warwickshire County Council when required. Unfortunately, with us losing over 50% of our budget due to government cuts, the Sports Development Team needs to divide its time more effectively between the many sporting groups that we support. We are one part, just one small part, of many that are responsible for health, and they all need to play their part in these times of government cuts if we are to make a difference on the health issues in Nuneaton and Bedworth. The Council prides itself on its commitment to sport in our borough and the many excellent facilities we provide, and the Council's budget to sports and leisure is evidence of our commitment.
Invite Councillor Mayfield to ask this question.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I wonder if the leader would join me in thanking the Internal Audit Team for their continued diligence and hard work. Far from the immature and nonsensical demand by Councillor Pendaga that the Council should be put into special measures, the external government-appointed auditors continue to recognise this Council being effective, economic and efficient as usual in their accounting matters. Thank you, Madam.
I will, Madam Mayor, certainly join Councillor Phillips in thanking the Internal Audit Team for their continued hard work and diligence, and extend that to all our hard-working officers and employees. Far from Councillor Kondaka's demand that this Council should be placed in special measures, I prefer to take heed of the comments in the recent External Auditor's report, referred to by Councillor Phillips, which stated that the Council had proper arrangements in all significant aspects to ensure it delivered value for money in its use of resources. Perhaps in making these comments at a recent Cabinet meeting, Councillor Condacor was not aware of the opinion of qualified experts.
Councillor Jones, this question.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question to the Leader of the Council is as follows. Whilst it's welcome that the Council has now decided to support an initiative to bring a business improvement district to the town, can you explain what has brought about this remarkable U-turn in Labour Group policy? As at the most recent Council meeting, his group were all clearly against the initiative, with every last Labour member present recorded as voting against the Conservative suggestion for a business improvement district. In the absence of a credible explanation, his sudden change of policy by the Leader of the Council can only look like Labour playing petty politics. That, or yet another example of a leadership long past its sell-by date, struggling to keep up with the times. Indeed, the Labour leader himself said at the last council meeting, "Now is not the time." Yet within days, it all of a sudden became the right time. This hardly looks credible to the public and the business community. So can he please explain why he and his group rejected outright the Conservative suggestion for a bid, only to launch the very same idea themselves a matter of days later?
Madam Mayor, I choose not to respond to personal abuse, so I won't in this particular instance. But I'm not aware that there's been any change in Labour Group policy. Despite the claims of Councillor Trowland, the Labour Group has not changed policy. Yes, we did vote against the Conservative motion at the last full council, and I did state that now was not the time. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Councillor Trowland, but it was certainly clear to Labour councillors what I meant, i.e. that full council was not the time to support such a motion. When no such suggestion had been formally put to the council for consideration by the businesses, who are the ones who must put it, the Cabinet consequently considered a suggestion put forward by the Nuneaton Business Alliance and decided, along with the County Council, to contribute £2,500 towards the cost of a feasibility study to ascertain what support there is from the Nuneaton Town Centre businesses to go forward with a bid. The Council will decide whether to support a bid once the views of businesses are known. I might add, Madam Mayor, that the Nuneaton Business Alliance welcomed our support and did not include any personal abuse in their response.
Would like Councillor Flynn to ask a question?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Given that within the last year, the manager of the Road Walk advised the council that footfall has decreased by 750,000 people, would the Leader of the council now admit that the town centre has declined under Labour control and fully support the bid initiated by the manager of Road Walk?
Madam Mayor, firstly I would point out that footfall figures are notoriously difficult to calculate, especially in regard to retail usage. Road Walk is used as a shortcut between Rowan Greenway and Curtin Road, for example, and people passing through may not actually be going shopping at all. Secondly, I do not accept Councillor Brindley's assertions that any town centre shop closures are a direct result of Labour control of this council. I might point to BHS, where perhaps I could blame the government. Perhaps she might consider that the increase in VAT to 20% imposed by the Conservative government on taking power in 2010 may have had some effect, as may the lack of any action by the Conservative-led County Council in refusing to protect families with small children in our town centres after 4 p.m. when traffic chaos reigns. This council has done much to protect our town centres. We have not allowed out-of-town shopping centres, so favoured by some neighbouring Tory councils. We have provided town centre entertainment and events throughout the year. We have fully protected our town centres and car parks with CCTV. We are now investing a further £200,000 in our towns to improve their viability. Any bid process is a matter for local businesses to put forward, and as I have said, they will shortly be consulted on this. The Nuneaton Business Alliance has welcomed the Council's contribution to this matter.
I'll invite Councillor Condacor to ask this question.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I went to an A5 partnership meeting in Market Harbour on Friday and was able to park right to the town centre for £1.70 for 4 hours. Then on Saturday I attended a wedding reception in Lichfield, where parking right next to the pedestrian area was £2.10 for 4 hours. Both places were buzzing with very few empty shops. I attended a wedding reception. It is great progress that the Labour Cabinet and the Neath and Bedford Borough Council is to allocate £200,000 to our struggling town centres after years of denial. There is also some cause for optimism for the decision again to have a position that has town centre management as a principal job function. However, there is still a massive concern about what you will deliver. I'm also very concerned by how much damage will be caused to the local economy by the price hikes to both parking and taxi fares. Daytime metered parking charges in the council's town centre car parks have been hiked around 7% in April for stays over 60 minutes. And this has led to a drop in income as people either reduce the length of their stay or go elsewhere. We now this week see the introduction of the 7% hike in already high taxi fares in the borough. They will now be around 23% higher than the average fare in the Midlands, and it seems will be far higher than any other Midlands town or city. Many taxi drivers and operators understand that the hike in taxi fares will be counterproductive, as there's already considerable waits for fares at places like the bus station taxi racks. How much more decline in the town centre economies is needed before the leader will ask his fellow cabinet members to reverse these damaging hikes in parking and taxi charges? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, many of Councillor Kondakar's questions and speeches amaze me, but this one does take a biscuit. Firstly, the rise in taxi fares was as a result of requests from the Neath and Bedford taxi proprietors themselves. So how they feel this is counterproductive, as Councillor Kondaka claims, I do not know. In fact, I know he attended the single-member decision, and I personally saw him disputing their assertions that they needed a rise in fares. In regard to town centres and parking fees, I refer Councillor Kondaka to Bedford, in particular. A town he might find of some interest, although once claimed no interest, and which is much nearer than Lichfield or Market Harbour. In Bedford, with so much free parking on offer, one would assume the council's car parks would be empty. Far from it, Madam Mayor. When visiting yesterday, I found it difficult to get a space behind the Civic Hall in a car park full of cars which had paid to be there. Perhaps, Madam Mayor, unlike Councillor Kondaka and most opposition councillors, drivers find that a sum of £1 to park in a car in a well-lit, safe area which is fully covered 24 hours a day by CCTV is not bad value. In fact, all of our town centre car parks are covered by CCTV. Madam Mayor, unlike Market Harbour, where only 2 out of 26 enjoy such safety coverage and are accredited with the park mark. Lichfield has none with such accreditation. We have 14. What's more, Councillor Kondaka chooses to be very selective with his information on car parks. In Lichfield, he clearly actually parked in a long-stay car park. But if he had chosen a short-stay car park, whose charges he is complaining about here, parking for 2 hours at £2 there, it's £1 an hour, is actually more expensive than the Neath and Bedford, where he would only pay £1.80. In fact, Councillor Kondaka, and anyone else for that matter, could park his car free and safely in the Neath if he were prepared to walk a short distance. So, Madam Mayor, I will arrange for the parking manager to send him a list of locations where he could park his car under a CCTV camera for no charge at all. He could, of course, alternatively come on his bike to the town centre. where he will find a very nice covered shelter, two in fact, where he can leave his bike absolutely free, right under a camera.
He
Paid for, by the way, by the people who are paying the parking charge. Instead of continually running down our town centres, it might be more encouraging if Councillor Condaka were to welcome new shops which have come into our towns, praise our successes in persuading the LEP to channel investment into the Neaton and Bedworth, and stop discouraging local people and visitors from shopping here themselves.
Can I invite Councillor Grant?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Following the Labour Group's U-turn on setting up a bid for Nuneaton, why is it that Bedworth is seemingly left behind yet again in having our own bid to help desperate businesses here? Are we not united to achieve?
Madam Mayor, I am rather mystified by Councillor Grant's question, as it was made clear at Cabinet that the bid process is one which is initiated and voted upon by the town centre businesses. So far, no such request has come from Bedworth town centre businesses, but the Cabinet made clear that any such request would receive the same support as that in Nuneaton. I would point out, however, that town centre businesses may not wish to incur the extra costs associated with any successful bid. That is their decision. If Councillor Grant had been in Bedworth town centre yesterday morning as I was, he would have seen a thriving town centre with few empty shops. In fact, we've got one council-owned shop vacant only in Bedworth now, and one in Nuneaton. An area thronging with pedestrians and shoppers. No doubt some of these people are attracted by the traditional market and long-established family businesses. But others were clearly taking the opportunity to visit some of the newer shops which have recently moved into the town, and I might refer him in particular to Congreve Walk, where about half of the shops are new. Perhaps they have more confidence in Bedworth than Councillor Grant has.
Councillor Harvey, can I ask Councillor Coughlin to ask this question?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Could the portfolio holder for housing and communities give the council an update on the implications of the government's Planning and Housing Act and how it will impact on the housing revenue account of this council?
Councillor Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I thank Councillor Coughlin for his question. Unfortunately, I am not in a position to update members in any way. There are two measures in the Housing and Planning Act which are anticipated to significantly and negatively impact the housing revenue account. Firstly, the requirement on us to sell our higher value voids and pass on the receipts to this to government, who will then distribute this money to housing associations to compensate them for selling their properties under the right to buy. We are yet to be told by government what exactly constitutes a higher value void, but we do know that a formula will be used to determine how much we will be expected to pay each year. Further, it has been advised that the government is likely to want a payment for the last quarter of this financial year. But as I've said, what level of payment that will be is still to be given to us. So frankly, this legislation and its implication is as clear as mud. The second major factor is the Pay to Stay initiative. Members will be aware that this scheme requires us to charge a higher rent to households who have an income in excess of £40,000 in London and £31,000 in the rest of England. These will be classified as high income tenants, and we will be forced to increase their rent by 15 pence for every pound they earn above that threshold. Again, the details are very sketchy. We know that this will come into effect from April next year, and we will be expected to pay the additional income that we collect, the amount over the social housing level, straight back to government, whether or not we actually get it. So whether people actually pay it to us, we'll be expected to pay it over. Housing associations, though, they're also social housing providers, they can actually choose whether or not to implement this policy. If they don't make the charge, that's fine, and if they do, they can actually keep the money against that. So, I'm really sorry, this legislation, its implications to Nuneaton and Benwick are unknown. The legislation is clear as mud. Officers are currently looking at how we'll be able to implement this initiative in pay to stay, with very little information from the government. It is proving, to say the least, extremely frustrating.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Given that the recent Cabinet report provides an information regarding what the newly created £200,000 budget for town centre improvements will be spent on, would the leader care to enlighten other members as well as the public on where the money will be spent?
Madam Mayor, as Cabinet only took place last Wednesday evening when this decision was made, I think any reasonable person would consider that making rash decisions on how to spend £200,000 of residents' money in such a short time frame would be rather irresponsible. However, various options are currently being looked at and itemised spending will be notified to all members as soon as possible. I can assure Council that we should be making sure that we should be sticking to our policy of delivering value for money, as recently praised by the external auditors. And I'm hoping, Madam Mayor, that the next time I report to members, it may well be that the County Council and MP have taken up our offer and are willing to match this 200,000, so we should be spending 600,000 at our rates.
I would like Councillor Goldie to ask a question.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Despite local newspaper headlines, like the Nuneaton News headline from June of this year, which read, "Disheartened shopkeepers feel abandoned in forgotten part of Nuneaton town centre," and the fact that it's been said repeatedly that the town centres are desperate for action to be taken to assist them to collectively get back on their feet, like is happening in a lot of our near neighbours, or for a long time the fact that residents and opposition councillors alike have been telling this council that the borough town centres are in decline, losing business and trade. So far nothing has been done. At the last full council meeting, Councillor Wilson spoke about discussions he had had involving town centre businesses who had been asking for help, and the Conservative group put forward an amendment to the economic development strategy. This amendment was to include the option to look at setting up a business improvement district, which was flat out rejected by the entire Labour group. This is obviously now accepted to be true, otherwise why announce the recruitment of a new town centre manager to replace the award-winning town centre manager who was previously made redundant, plus the proposed £200,000 for a town centre improvement project and feasibility study into setting up a business improvement district, which is very welcome, but as already mentioned was rejected only weeks ago when put forward by the Conservative group. What has caused the penny to finally drop, and the realisation that in fact what the public and opposition councillors and business owners have been saying for so long was in fact correct.
Well, Madam Mayor, as Abbey Street has been referred to, I will actually refer Councillor Galway to Abbey Street and go and look at the paving and the fencing around the trees.
Can I raise a point of order? I didn't actually mention Abbey Street. I didn't.
Pardon? I understood it was there was a headline in the paper. Anyway, it was the only different. But I will say, Madam Mayor, that this is basically the same question being asked over and over again by the Conservative opposition, and I do wonder, with all the council's functions, why they can't move on to other subjects. Any bid process must be supported by the majority of town centre businesses, and the council has contributed £2,500 to the cost of ascertaining the amount of support from them for what in effect will be added cost to running their business, and we shall await their results with interest. This is welcomed by the Business Alliance. They represent the shopkeepers, not the Conservative opposition.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A few years ago, the controlling Labour group decided to abolish the post of town centre manager, despite requests from the opposition to the contrary. In the meantime, the state of our town centres has become even more of a concern, exactly as we feared at the time. Now, in an admittedly welcome move, the controlling Labour group have decided to reinstate the position of town centre manager. Will the leader of the council now admit that he made a gross error of judgment in abolishing the position of town centre manager, and that the leader is, after all, for turning? Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Madam Mayor, the post of town centre manager was abolished due to two reasons. Firstly, there were alternative ways to deliver those services at lower cost. Those alternative arrangements were still in place and will continue under the management of the new post. Secondly, the Conservative government, supported by our 3 Tory MPs, had slashed and continue to slash our government grant support to such a level that we are trying to manage the same services with 53% less money. Something, Madam Mayor, has to give. We did, however, create a new post of Town Centre Coordinator, and this post will continue. The new post referred to by Councillor Wilson is very different from the old one, which is evident from the post title of Head of Town Centres and Marketing, and will see a transfer of responsibilities among staff, brought about by another senior manager in this authority, obtaining a new job with another authority. The post carries significantly more managerial responsibility than the old post of Town Centre Manager, and will run both town centre functions, including markets and communications. Finally, Madam Mayor, I find it amazing, as I've said, that the Conservatives can claim that we reduced town centre management functions when one of their first actions in coming to power under Marcus Jones in 2008 was to get rid of our 2 very excellent and popular town centre wardens who did such a good job in Nuneaton and Bedworth. Rather a case of the pot calling the kettle, so to speak.
There were questions by members, so I'm going to move on to item